Today, I'll be ranking the 6 members of Roar Omega Roar. So if you don't know who these guys are some of the fraternities of Monsters University, and you. So I'll be talking about all 6 of these members of the fraternity. And if you don't know what these guys are, this is the rival team of Uzma Kappa, which are the main characters, the good guys of the movie. Now, these are not technically villains, but I would consider them villains since they are the main antagonists. Now, not all antagonists are villains, but all villains are antagonists. So keep that in mind. So, without further ado, let's start with, unfortunately, the worst, as always, which is, of course, Johnny Worthington. So Johnny Worthington is a purple monster with fur, has a dragon-like tail, has big horns and 2 tusks and 2 shady eyebrows. So spoilers, obviously. So Johnny Worthington, he is a bully in general. He is considered to be the main antagonist of the film. And what did he do? He was up against Mike at the end of the film. He was the one who started a party so they can trick Uzma Kappa to being adorable monsters. And he is now these guys are on Hate Sync Wiki. So Hate Sync is a wiki about characters who are purposely made to be hated by the creators of a movie or a TV show, which is kind of a good thing. And these guys are no exception. Anyways, back to Johnny Worthington. So I'll tell you about the role of this movie. So he was first greeting solely to becoming a member of Roar Omega Roar, and these are basically like the cool kids of the college. And what else? He tricked Uzma Kappa into becoming adorable monsters, and these are considered to be the best monsters, the fraternity of all the 6 fraternities. And there are 6, and in these teams there are 6 members with 6 teams overall. But now, spoiler alert, he did an amazing job at the end of the film at the roaring contest, the final contest, but he ultimately failed at the end of the film. But not really, because Sully cheated, because if Sully didn't cheat during the challenge, when Mike roared at the dummy, the scare dummy, that means he wouldn't. That means Uzma Kappa wouldn't win if Sully cheated. So that's why Sully wanted to win. And if Sully did not cheat, these guys would have won, because Mike wouldn't be a good scarer. Mike Wazowski wouldn't be a good scarer. Now, next up on the list, dang, I hate Johnny, is probably Reggie Jacobs. So yeah. So he is next on the list. He's the second lowest ranking guy on the list, because he's just kind of strange. I mean, not strange in a good way, strange in kind of a bad way, of just the way he looks. There are some. Now, he's not a terrible character, unlike Johnny, but he doesn't really speak in proper words. Now, this character does not speak in a proper word. I don't know if he's just growling and whatnot, but I don't know if he just growls, or he doesn't know how to speak, or he does speak but he doesn't want to. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if he speaks but he doesn't want to. This guy cannot speak and only growls. I don't know which one, but that's not something to make fun of. So This guy isn't much of an interesting little fellow, so let's move on to the next character. Next up is probably the most bland member of the Roar and Mega Roar team. Chip Goff. This character does... The only thing striking is his appearance. His vampire-like fangs that are almost as big as Johnny's tusks. That's probably the only thing striking about this character right here. But overall, he is generally a generic monster and doesn't have any moments in the film. So he's just kind of bland. There's not really anything to say about the character. What else is next? Next is Chet Alexander. This guy. So he is a crab-like monster, and I think he's supposed to be Johnny's assistant or somewhat, but he's kind of higher on the list because he does have some... He is kind of comedic. He's kind of a comedic little character, and he does have some pretty good lines like, "Johnny, you're my hero," and he was the only one to get surprised that Sullivan is a famous character, a famous person, monster. Huh. But seriously, this character, the only reason why he's higher on the list is because he's pretty comedic and he is a very tolerable character. So that's why he's number 3 on the list. Next is, this is a shorter ranking video. Next is, what's his, I forgot his name. It's this guy right there. Is it Javier? I know his name. Let me just type it in. Javier Rios. I think that's his name. Javier Rios. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but he is an insect-like creature. I think he's supposed to be a walking stick. I think. Yeah, I think this character right here is supposed to be a walking stick. Just because of the antennas and the spikes, because the spikes look like he's a walking stick. So I think he's supposed to be that. But he's kind of interesting because instead of making a roar like the other characters right here, he makes a hissing noise, which is right here. This is his pose in when he was hissing at the dummy during the contest. The final contest. So he's just an interesting, chill dude. I think that's the reason why he's second place. He's a pretty cool guy. Now, the obvious one is pretty easy. So the most obvious character is Randall. Well, I don't really have to explain why he has he's number 1 on the list, but if you don't know, I'll explain right now. So, Randall is a lizard-like monster who looks like this in Monsters University, who now looks like this in Monsters Inc., who looks a lot more intimidating. And he lost his glasses during some time of he lost his glasses. He took his glasses off during the beginning of the film after he met Mike Wazowski, and now he looks like this when he became an evil and heartless, cruel lizard-like monster who partners up with Water News in Monsters Inc. So that is the reason why he's the highest on the list. He is a awesome villain. He's very famous, and we get to see the reason why. We get to see his backstory, kind of, but even though he doesn't really have a big role in Monsters University. But that's the reason why he's the highest on the list, because he became it. This was his backstory before Monsters Inc. He had a little backstory, even though it wasn't too much. So I'm sorry this is a little shorter than other the ranking videos, because these characters have a short history. They don't really have much of a big behind. These guys only have a minor role that is about only 4 minutes of screen time for each of these guys. So that's why it's 10 minutes now. So I probably have to say